Guys, ladies and gents, as we all know that there have been this big controversy going on around Diddy, and that Diddy seems to be always at the forefront in these scandals when it comes to wanting to be intimate with a man. So, in this particular podcast that was streamed from PBD Podcast on Friday, uh, as you can see on the screen, he explained to Patrick how he believed that Puffy was trying to seduce him. Puffy was trying, in his word, Puffy was trying to F him. And that kind of gave me a pause like, wait a second here. Did he just say that? But obviously, he did. Because by now, many of you have already seen this clip or watched the video. But I wanted to give my take on it. So here we go. Let's play the video so you guys can get used to it.
There's a short life in
Why,
the
why do you
acting
think that
world.
is? What the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what Heath had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card,
What is that? What do you mean by that?
you give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man
Yes.
card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Now I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these
Mm-hmm.
guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with.
You know, he made a great point right there because some of these OnlyFans models, as they call themselves, they're out there throwing their bodies around, naked, having all different type of sexual activities going on screen, thinking that it's private and no one will ever see it in the future. And piece by piece, they lose a bit of their soul. I've used this analogy to explain to people, right? I've said a woman body is like a bottle of water, right? To a thirsty man or a bunch of thirsty men. and each man come and take a sip. And as that man comes and take a sip, a little bit of her soul diminish diminishes over time. A little bit of her soul diminishes. But it is more egregious when a man takes another man's manhood, as Terrence says, his man card. That's something you can never come back from. Never come back from. But let's continue.
with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't.
Let's go back on that because I want you guys to hear that again, right? Let's go back. Let's go back some. All right. Let's start it
Out of
from
their
where Patrick
head.
is speaking.
They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
And you know, this is what a lot of people need to understand. These sexual deviants that are tricking people saying that they're bisexuals. Some of them say they're not gay, they just have a preference. If you're gay, just be gay, right? Just deal with the fact of who you are. Be happy and gay. The word gay means happy. So stand in what you are, right? If someone is angry for you wanting to express your desires to be with the same sex, that's on you. Keep it in your bedroom, right? But when you are a deviant in a way to where you look at a man like as if he was a woman with a lustful eyes, and you know that that man is not of the same character, not of the same lifestyle, and you want to push your desires on that man, you're opening up yourself for all things possible that could happen, right? And some of these deviants, some of these deviants are not acting alone. They always have an accomplice. Always. I watch a lot of uh, werewolf movies, and there's a word on one of the werewolf movies that I watch, and these group of werewolves or werewolves kind are called lycans. But the actual word for lichen, which is spelled Liken, is of a familiarity as to where they are similar or very much accepting of the conditions that they are not really into, but they will accept it for the simple fact that they want to get somewhere. Let me pull up what the term of a lichen is, right? And and what's going on? Oh, someone just told me that the audio is delaying. Let me fix that. Thank you, Cam. Let me fix. So me Let's see. All right. Cam, I hope that fixed that. You know, this tends to happen. Technology. Right. So the lichen, as I was saying, lichen is spelled Liken, right? And it points out a resemblance. So points out to a resemblance of someone or something. So basically, when these individuals that are of a certain way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be sexual. It can be anything, right? These people usually have an accomplice, and their accomplice help them to facilitate the nefarious behaviors that they want to do, right? So with with this Puffy situation and Terrence explaining to PBD that he believed Puffy wanted to F him, it's not far to believe because you know the controversy that's been going on around Puffy. So let's continue with the video.
And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
1,500 sperm per heartbeat. That's a lot. In comparison to how women produce eggs, we are placed on this earth to populate, and we can be with multiple women. And as a heterosexual man, we tend to only want to go after women. But it's about time that someone in the music and film industry actually comes out and say, this is actually what's going on. Because when you are kind of like not given the direct explanation as to what's going on in the entertainment industry, you leave people wondering, like, did he what is he trying to say? Is he whispering something? Do you have to read between the line? It's all nonsense. Listen, I'm happy that Terrence did this. I'm happy that he came out. And everyone, I apologize. The audio kind of went out, and uh, I fixed it, but it went out for briefly. So thank you, Cam, for letting me know that. I appreciate you. All right. So I'm going to close this out right here, and see you guys again.